Welcome to the titular Vee and Reagan's Unusual and Unethical Podcast. Today's matter of discussion is gene editing! With a focus on hypothetical embryo editing! Alright.
Yup.
In our first little segment here, we're just going to talk about how it scientifically works. V kicking us off like usual.
Okay, so how it scientifically works is that the gene editing is performed using enzymes, particularly nuclei? Nuclei, I think, that have been engineered to target a specific DNA sequence, where they introduce cuts into the DNA strands, enabling the removal of existing DNA and the insertion of replacement DNA. It's just editing genes and stuff.
A nucleus is something different. A nucleus is any enzyme that cleaves nucleic acids.
Oh, okay.
So, very interesting that they're spelled a little too similar. Alright, so,
yeah.
Now, basic background information. CRISPR, which I'm just going to call CRISPR. This is like a very popular meta gene editing strategy. And going into a bit of the timeline here. Alright, so 1950s. Now, this is when ideas started coming to be. And we'll get into this more later, but this is because of the double helix discovery. So they discovered this double helix and immediately tried to lock in. 2012, CRISPR was discovered. CRISPR is very important. It's kind of like the final spark of the gene editing meta.
Yeah, that's the main people who do it.
And then 2017, some form of establishment and like criteria for human embryo genome editing, like some like official like laws and stuff. Like it can be done, like editing human embryo genomes. It can be done if it's carefully done, monitored heavily, and as like a last-ditch medical effort. And we'll get more into what all these means later. 2018. Now, we'll especially get into this more later. First gene-edited babies was born in China. This wasn't really done with consent at all. Goal was to disable a gene involved with HIV. The twin girls are named Nala and Lulu. That's not their real names, but that's what they're called to protect, themselves.
Yeah.
And some compared this doctor to Frankenstein, and he was arrested because this was not allowed, but he's out, and now he's on the prowl.
Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah, he's on the prowl. And now the babies are supposedly fine, no health complications yet, as of 2025, as recording this. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into the titular fun facts.
It used to be just by reproduction. So, like, outside of humans, for example, like dog breeding to get desired traits for what becomes, like, breeds. So, like, think about, like, pugs, for example. Like, they were bred to have, like, these shorter muzzles. And also artificial semination, which is gathering animal sperm from another animal to put inside another.
Yeah.
Those are technically gene editing.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the whole, like, artificial insemination kind of reminds me of, like, the chimpanzee talk, like, the chimeras, if you remember. And,
it would really suck if it costed $20,000 to do that.
Yeah. And, I would just like to clarify, there's both, what we're talking about today is both, like, in the embryo, so human development, and also gene therapy, like CRISPR, that is gene therapy type stuff. And gene therapy is really sort of aimed to assist human disease or complications. And also this kind of ties into the quote unquote goal, potential goal, end type goal for human embryo editing, which is kind of like the main ethical focus here today. And it's to help assist and prevent these diseases and complications at birth for that stuff. And as mentioned before, this has been an idea since we have discovered the double helix. Humans
Yeah.
discover that and immediately try to jump on that mindset.
This thing is sort of like the holy idea of gene therapy. Like it's like a big thing.
Yeah, like CRISPR, yeah.
Yeah. And then for gene therapy, the changes done can like cure or minimize the harm to the individual, but it doesn't carry off to offspring. So if you edit someone's genes and they have kids, it's not going to be carried off to their kids.
Yeah.
Like gene therapy specifically.
Yeah. That's very good. Because
Yeah.
if it gets to a point where it's like, I don't want to say good like per se, but it's definitely like less of a concern for people because a
Yeah.
lot of gene therapy is relatively new. Um and if we don't really know about that and it's like going down like genetically, we don't know how that could like affect a like line genetically. Um
Yeah.
but it does pose the issue of like maybe the issue that the individual had was genetic or something and that maybe it would be better for the offspring, but it's kind of like a side ramble there because gene therapy is not like the main ethical talk about today. And now
Yeah.
this is
And
where we get
also,
kind of into the embryos. Sorry, V. So
okay.
um this would be like kind of shaping their genes and like sort of programming the organism, animal or human, to look
Mhm.
or be like built up to how one likes. Now this primarily happened like all of the time with livestock and such, like a lot of plants kind of genetically built and
Oh yeah.
modified to humans such. And this kind of goes back to what we were first talking about, like the bread. Like a lot of cows or like pigs are bred to be the specific way. So this idea of like genetically modifying, maybe not scientifically, like actually probing and going with the genes, but like this whole like concept of trying to get something and through generations or whatnot shape it to how you would see would be the best for it or best for you. It's always been there, and there's always been debates about ethicality and like stuff like that. Maybe not, obviously not with like plants and stuff, but like especially with animals.
Yeah.
So this has always been kind of like a question and a stuff.
Yeah. GMOs can be used for helping humans study how like human diseases work and what to do with it. So there's benefits. There are a lot of benefits to gene editing. That's why it's a big science that's being worked on by CRISPR.
So GMOs, so these are genetically modified organisms, so like from the previous point. Now these can be used for helping humans study like human disease and what to do with it. So like this is just like a benefit that comes. And this is very similar to how there are benefits to like chimeras and such and like figuring out like human what would be best for humans in these scenarios like all right, this is what
Mhm.
you gotta do. And
I like pyrite paws.
and like modifying like babies, anything to do with like pregnancy, embryos, all of that stuff is now as of now is illegal most countries.
Oh
And
yeah,
in the future, the goal is like severe illness first, like take away like
yeah,
severe illness that can be spotted, and then just general like touch ups. And the article I read was like 20 to 30. It was like that's crazy to think like it would just be like
oh
a
wow.
genetic like I don't want to say cleansing because that sounds like that's like a dog whistle I think,
Yeah,
but
it
like
doesn't sound very good.
it's like a dog whistle. But you know,
Yeah,
like when it comes to like illness and disease and such, like you can just go into like the genes or like whatever, like go into like the structure of it and then pick apart and like take away what would cause bad. So it would kind of be like taking a shower. I wouldn't say genetic cleansing because
yeah,
that again that sounds like a dog whistle, but like a gene shower.
yeah. since the Nana and Lulu were affected very early in like conception, like being an embryo, any of their kids might contain the CRISPR edited changed genes. So it could carry down.
Yeah, in that case, it really would, which is pretty
Yeah.
concerning because we don't really
And we don't
know.
know what's gonna happen with that.
Yeah,
Because what if like 200 years into the future, there's multiple generations, and these generations have some sort of problem with them?
yeah.
That would not be very good.
And we'll get more into like the Nala and Lulu and what their like whole conception brings because that's a really big thing about like the ethical side of today's episode. That's crazy. When I
Mm-hmm.
read that, I first thought like the whole oh well we had the first gene edited baby. I thought that was fake and I was like, okay, wait, does this actually exist? How did they allow that? And then I researched, I was like, oh, they didn't allow that. He just did it. Okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
not very good.
And the protection from these twins genes, which was from HIV, isn't the only concern because these genomes affected they're affected anyway, and it would be sort of like a domino effect. And in the article I read,
Yeah.
it described it pretty well. Like imagine it like an autocorrect. Um, like it's just correcting things, and we all know from experience like autocorrect can sometimes not be good. Like I'll just be spelling words and it fixes it for no reason. Like it can cause more harm than it may help, and when that's in like a human body,
Yeah, it's not very good.
that's not really a good risk to be taking. And
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
now let's flip it and get into some of the newsworthy relevant. And of course, like every episode, this is a developing science. Just gotta hash that out. Developing science. We all
Yeah.
gotta be kind of concerned about it because science is becoming more and
I
more
think
meta every day.
I think a big part of what makes it unethical is that humans, and this is like something that's more so like subjective, but I think people shouldn't really be playing God with each other like this. I think that it's not right
Yeah,
to, I think a lot of people share that opinion. I think some things just maybe shouldn't be messed with because it could potentially be really bad, like really bad.
yeah, and even if you're doing it carefully, I think the moral stance of humans shouldn't play God. That's just like a people have that. They have that for like a lot of different like sectors. And even if you go about this the most carefully
Yeah,
ever, there are still going to be a lot of concerns about like we are just humans. We need to step back. We need to not like mess with this type of stuff.
yeah. And then bouncing off of like this whole subject, isn't breaking people down to just being like these changeable DNA strands a little bit humanizing? Like,
I think.
animals don't know about space or about how their cells work. Like, it's good to be educated about all of this, but when is it too much? Because it's just kind of like we've already seen how this modification can be bad when it comes to animals because sometimes when they get bred so much, they start to have really bad health effects. Like dachshunds, because of their really short legs, they can't support their body weight. And then pugs have a bunch of breathing issues because their muzzles are way too close to, not too close, but they're way too small, they're way too smushed. And if that can happen with these dogs just from like selective breeding, trying to get these specific traits, it's just like what's gonna happen with people? I just don't like it very much.
Yeah. And going back to like that like the yeah, I think it is pretty dehumanizing to like just like put us into like, hey, you are these DNA strands. Look at how we can change you. It just feels like something like no
Yeah,
like alive species was like no amount of like adapting and evolution could have prepared us for this, right? Like it's a lot to take
yeah,
in, I guess. Could like mentally mess with some
yeah,
people. And there are risks. Like there was this teen, Jessie Gelsinger. She died after her somatic gene therapy. So this is going back to gene therapy. This wasn't like Nala and Lulu, who were like brought into this world. They're like the only two. But like this
Wow.
was from just like gene therapy, and actually 11 other patients who were infants were treated same somatic gene therapy, and later on in life they developed leukemia-like illness, which is
Oh, that's not very good.
that's concerning because that's infants
Yeah.
developing leukemia-like illness. That's concerning because like why? I mean, it can't be good messing with like
Yeah.
genes and stuff. Like at least this early on, it's just pretty concerning.
Yeah. A big concern is also like eugenics. Like the whole desired traits thing is a really bad mindset, and we've seen that in the past. So, what if in the future some people get this like dictatorship and they start trying to use gene editing to do that, to do eugenics? That could be pretty harmful.
Yeah,
Not very good.
I heard this term like in an article, like designer babies. Like that
How is
concept
it?
just freaks me out.
Yeah.
And kind of like yeah, what you were saying about like the whole like eugenics, like desired traits. Like what if there becomes a time we lose the plot and just start going over physical looks? Like erasing
Yeah.
individuality and dehumanizing like almost everybody to like what they are supposed to look like, just further implements beauty standard. And there's also questions about like how this affects evolution, because again evolution is so like beautifully set up, and we're just coming in and
Yeah.
we're just changing stuff.
Yeah. There are like regulations for it, but there's already been like one to break the law and bring two whole people into the world with this coding. The stakes are really high, and I think it might impose a question of trustability in these scientists. Now, there's not many, but there's definitely a fear, you know?
Yeah, too small of a sample to conclude, but there's definitely a fear there, especially when it's people. These are people
Yeah,
being brought. And the last main point, like following on the fact that these are people, like will these twins be allowed to have children? Like how may this affect their lives as adults? Like they might have to be
yeah,
regulated and stuff because they are the only two of their kind, and that would just be a horrible reality for them. And it is a horrible reality for them, and they will just be like studied and monitored basically for their entire lives. um Kind of like a parallel, kind of like family channels, but like a gazillion times worse. Like all eyes are on them, like scientists, whatnot, and they might not even in the future
oh
be able to
yeah,
have like a family that they'd like. Like this just automatically changes like how society would ever view them. And you can't really live, you
yeah,
can live a happy and healthy life, but not a normal life, like ever, just
yeah,
because some scientists did this. So just very upsetting for the twins. And they're still pretty young. I think they're 7 right now.
yeah, six or
Um,
seven. Probably like
so
6 or 7.
yeah, like genuinely, I wanted to say that, but there's just stigma around those numbers right now. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and I don't think the gene therapy is unethical. Um, Me personally, that's just like a way of treatment, but it needs to be expanded further upon given the
yeah,
risks. And of
yeah,
course, like
absolutely.
everybody, the whole embryo stuff, I don't think that will ever be ethical, even if it's for a good cause, because it just
No, probably
implies too
not.
much. It implies too much.
Oh yeah, I think you're completely right.
And yeah, V, do you have anything else?
I don't.
All right. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Make sure you don't fall up the
The
stairs. Make
podcast,
sure you don't go like $20,000 in
twenty
debt.
thousand. Yeah, no, don't go $20,000 in debt,
That'd
please.
suck. And don't be smoking on that. I'm mature for my age pack. All right.
Yeah, yeah.